James Perry raised an interesting issue, that of race. The potential for the Inspector General's office to become a racially divisive issue is great. We've already seen it to some degree. My question to each of the participants and to Inspector General Quatrevo as well is, what will you do in your role as mayor or Inspector General to prevent that from happening?
Well, I think it's really simple, quite frankly, what I will do as mayor, and that's provide the leadership. When you stand up and say you support the ethics of the IG's office, I think that takes a lot of that away. You can bring people in and let them know that, and we sit at the same table and just make it work. Now, as people talked about, there's been some growing pains, so it's a new entity, and it's kind of going back and forth between different inspectors general so far. But I think it just takes the leadership of the mayor to say this is something we're going to have in the city, and just to make it work.
I spent a long time trying to come up with a disciplined approach to how to be a great mayor in order to restore this America's most beloved city. And to me, that fourth fundamental, are you fair and equitable to all your citizens? If you inculcate that into the culture of everything that goes on, everybody's going to know it has nothing to do with race. And then the second thing is, we got to get past the point of allowing people to use race in order as a crutch in order to take on or attack somebody. If in fact people are not doing their job, white or black, young or old, they got to go. If they're stealing money, young or old, Hispanic, Vietnamese, white or black, they got to go. And once people understand that you're going to apply everything and that every decision that is made by this mayor's office will be done on the basis of, is it fair and equitable to all of our citizens? One of the great gifts that we as a generation will give the next one is we'll put this behind us. And I'm going to work on that every day.
I spoke briefly earlier about my perspective on what will happen to folks that have integrity lapses, and that will still occur. I think what's most important, though, is we need to define the mission of the Inspector General. I think, especially in the black community today, there's some level of confusion, and there's some level of thought that perhaps there's some predatory elements to it. And by having a clearly defined mission, by having a clear role, it takes that away. Now people are executing on a mission as opposed to interpreting a cause or interpreting the purpose of their existence. So first thing we want to do is drive clarity. In any organization that you structure, you need to have a mission statement, and you need to have something that everyone understands is their basic fundamental objective for their existence. By doing that, instituting the core values that we talked about, the transparency and accountability systems that I earlier discussed, I don't think the race issue becomes an issue then, because people now know that the yardstick is the same for every organization, every individual, and not something that is being done on a haphazard or selective basis. And that's where the rumor and the scuttlebutt and the rubber hits the road today exist, especially in the African American contracting community. Hey, I've been in business, and I am in business, so I understand sometimes that there are different measuring sticks. What we have to do is make sure that there is one, and then judge everyone accordingly. And that's what I'll do. Thank you.
The question not only is about the IG's office, but really in a broader context, it's about how the next mayor of the city of New Orleans is going to bring the people of the city together so that we can find higher common ground and focus on outcomes that matter to all of us. It's not worth trying to ignore that race is a major issue in the city of New Orleans. It is, in fact, one of the great contributing factors to our dysfunction as a people. Our inability to get through it, to talk about it, to deal with it, has stopped us from making this into a fantastic city that all of us can be proud of. And the best way to combat that is really through the leadership and the tone and the context of the mayor's office, in partnership with the business community, the faith-based community, the NGOs. We all have to be committed to this, by the way, whether we win or lose in this race, because this is one of the main sticking points to progress. You have to lead by example in this regard. Everybody has to be treated fairly. Everybody has to know what the rules are. And we also have to stop allowing people to use race when race is really not the issue. In the white community, we have a special responsibility when somebody in the white community does it, to call them on the carpet. In the African American community, we have to do the same. The mayor can't go on African American radio and say one thing and then on white radio and say another. That's divisive. And one of the things we all have to be committed to is putting that aside, because unless I'm the only one that's noticed, race is part of every issue that we talk about in the city. Who's got the garbage contract? What color is the IG? What about the contracting process? Is it really racial? And it always devolves into who's got the job and not what the outcome is that we want to achieve. If we're not all committed to that, irrespective of what our positions might be on crime, schools, jobs, transparency, reorganization of state government, it will get in the way. I am absolutely committed now as a lieutenant governor, as a state legislator I was, and certainly as mayor, of speaking in a way, acting in a way, gathering people in a way, so that we stay focused on the issue, which is the outcome of what we're going to produce for the citizens, and not on the issue of race. It is a critical issue. It's very important. You can't ignore it. You have to go through it in order to solve the problem. And as your mayor, hopefully I will lead that effort, that discussion, and then we'll practice what I preach and lead by example. Thank you so much.
Well, I think it's three things. I think, one, that outreach is a good thing, and I've been trying to do that. I've scheduled numerous meetings around the community. I've been on quite a few radio stations and tried to get that message out. As far as the myths, I believe we're confronting them head on and saying what the truth is, whatever it may be. And with respect to mission, we have a clearly defined mission. It's going to be in the strategic plan that will come out sometime early next year. That strategic plan will include a risk assessment, a prioritization of projects, which we will conduct over a multi-year period. That will eliminate our ability to take on projects that need to be done as information arises. However, people will be able to see that we have a reasoned plan for what we're doing and that we have a strategy for accomplishing